The Renaissance was a cultural, artistic, political, and economic rebirth following the Middle Ages, generally described as taking place from the 14th century to the 17th century. It promoted the rediscovery of classical philosophy, literature, and art. Some of the greatest thinkers, authors, statesmen, scientists, and artists in human history thrived during this era, and global exploration opened up new lands and cultures to European commerce. The fall of feudalism and the rise of a capitalist market economy made the Renaissance possible in the first place. The Renaissance had to be financed by something. Da Vinci probably wouldn't have been interested in painting the Mona Lisa if he didn't have anything to eat. All artists need at least the very bottom rungs of Maslow's hierarchy of needs covered, and throughout history, this has been made possible by free trade. Art, architecture, and science were closely linked during the Renaissance. Like Bitcoin, it was made possible by a fusion of technologies. For example, Da Vinci incorporated scientific principles such as anatomy into his work so he could recreate the human body with more precision. While this wealth allowed many artists and thinkers to use their talents to express new ideas, some took to the seas and several explorations were made, which facilitated increased global trade. Voyagers such as Christopher Columbus, Amerigo Vespucci, and many others discovered new shipping routes to the Americas, India, and the Far East. More wealth allowed more people to learn how to read, write, and interpret ideas. They began to closely examine, critique, and redesign their society. Unfortunately, more restrictive trade routes led to a period of economic decline and limited the amount of money that wealthy contributors could spend on the arts, so the Renaissance came to an end. Since then, in many ways, we've degenerated. Our descendants will likely see our time period as a sort of barbaric dark ages. We're currently living in a period of war, ignorance, and pandemics, only instead of the Black Death, we have the coronavirus. We may not realize this now, but like newly discovered trade routes initiated the Renaissance, Bitcoin also opens up new trade routes by allowing for free international trade in an era with huge amounts of protectionism, trade barriers, and restrictions. However, this wealth can only be generated once Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies are widely used on platforms such as the Virie Market. Thanks to Bitcoin and decentralized finance as a whole, increased trade volume will inevitably lead to increased global wealth, which means that people will have to worry less about how they're going to feed themselves and spend more time restructuring the inefficient societal paradigms, creating art, and embarking on more explorations into the unknown.